The 25th of September, Rabbi Levitt, Gemora.
Okay, Alan's here and Lou is here.
Yep.
And Phil is also here. So, let's see. So we did the Rashis of the Esvei, right? We did the Rashis.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we can go further then. Okay, so there was an Esvei Rebbe Reb Nachman, from the case of Metzia's Poel Atzmo. Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay, so I highly doubt that we're going to be able to understand this answer unless we go over the question again. So let's just run over this question again over here that Rava is posing from the Brisa on Rav Nachman. Remember, what does Rav Nachman himself hold? Rav Nachman himself holds that is not possible for Jew number one to pick up an item, a hefker item, and have in mind to be konet that item on behalf of Jew number two. Why? The Gemora said because of the principle of tofes lebal chov b'makom shechav lacherim lo konet, which basically meant that the reason that Jew number one cannot do that and to benefit Jew number two is because it's very nice that it's a benefit for Jew number two, but it's at the expense of Jew number 3, 4, and 5, because they would have they're losing out on the fact that Jew number one is do-gooder that's helping out Jew number two, but it's at their expense. So because they would like to acquire it as well. And if it wouldn't have been for the fact that Jew number one is mixing in over here and picking it up for Jew number two, Jew number 3, 4, and 5 would have gotten there before Jew number 2, let's say, or they want to have a right to it. If you don't want a right to it, Jew number 1, so leave it there for somebody else. Don't take it. I guess that's the idea. So that's what Rav Nachman holds. So now Rava is bringing an esvei. He's got a brisa that refutes this principle. So how does it refute it? Esvei Rava Rav Nachman, Metzias poel la'atzmo, b'medavu mamurim, b'zman shomer lo balabais, nachashim hayom, odi mehayom. Okay, so that's the first part of the brisa, and that part of the brisa, if the balabais, you got a balabais that hired a day worker, and he told him do nakesh with me, do ador with me today. I'm hiring you for the day to do that. And so the din in that case is that if he finds something, the day worker, he keeps it for himself. Okay. But we say that's only if the balabais that hired him told him to do a specific malacha. If he told him to do malacha in general, do with me malacha. Any malacha I tell you to do, you got to do it. You agree to the job, that's the job. Any malacha I tell you to do, you got to do. I say, imi malacha hayom. Today, I'm going to tell you to do whatever, you got to do it. That's the job. So in that case, if he told him that, Mitziosoi shel balabayasu. If this day worker finds something in the where he's working that's hefker, it goes to the balabayas. So that is a refutation of Rav Nachman. Why? Because we see from this scenario, this last scenario, that it is possible for Jew number one to pick it up for Jew number two. That's why when the day worker picks it up, the balabais acquires it. There you see. We see with our own eyes that Jew number one is capable of picking it up and making a kinyan for Jew number two, not like Rav Nachman. So that's the esvei of Rava to Rav Nachman. Now the Gemora is going to come up with an answer to this. Amarle. Rav Nachman himself is answering this, even though it says Amarle, we don't know, but anyway, that's what my note says. Yeah, it's clear that that's so, because I'll tell you why. Because the Gemara says the esvei was that Rava was speaking to Rav Nachman. Esvei Rava li Rav Nachman. So we understand that Rava was speaking directly to Rav Nachman. He asked him this question. So then when it says Omar Le, and it doesn't say who it is, we know that that's Rav Nachman defending himself to the challenge that Rava made. So let's read Omar Le. And you want to know where it is, right? All this time that I've been talking. Look, it's, what can I tell you? You know what? It's right across from Tosos Dibur Maskal Tofes. Just one line up from there. The second Tosos on the page is Dibur Maskal Tofes. And if you go one line up in the Gemora column from there, you'll see Amalei Shiny. That's the response of Rav Nachman. Does everybody have that place?
It's 10A2, right-hand column, last paragraph.
Okay, Alan.
Gemora asked, did it? Gemora asked.
Rav Nachman replies to Rava.
Okay, 1 minute. Then-
10A2.
Oh, 10A2, okay. Okay.
Bing, bong,
Yeah,
bong,
right.
bing, bong.
More answers. Tana says for Rav Nachman will explain. Is that it? Which part of the page? Sorry.
On the right-hand column, the last paragraph.
Okay.
10A.
Again, Rav Nachman replies to Rava. Amalei, Rav Nachman said to him, Sheni Poel, a worker is different. Diyodo Kiyad Baal Habayit Hu, because his hand is like an extension of the employer's hand. Therefore, when the worker picks up a fine, it is if the employer himself picked it up and acquired it on his own behalf. Generally, one person cannot effect the acquisition of an owner's article on behalf of someone else. Rava counters, or Mar Rav, but surely Rav said, Poel Yokol Lachazor Bo Filu Bachatzi Hayom. A worker can withdraw from his employment even in the middle of the working day. How then can you contend that he is owned by his employer? I'm not going to reprise. Omale, Rav Nachman said to him, a call by more the low or Rav base, as long as the worker has not withdrawn beyond Baal Habayit, who he is owned by the employer, and his hand is like the employer's hand. Ki or Dar Bay. However, when the worker withdraws from his employment, his action is valid, not because he has been owned until this point, but rather we know who deceived for a different reason. For it is written, Kili B'nai Yisrael Mordim, for the children of Israel are slaves unto me. In effect, God says they are my slaves. Below Mordim and not slaves to other slaves. No Jew can be forced to work for someone else against his will.
Okay. Okay, very good. So let's take a look at the Rashis. We got Rashi, Dibra Maschil. Not sure exactly where we got up to in the reading of the Rashis.
I remember reading Seifa.
Seifa? Oh, okay.
We did the next one also, the Tofes Labal Chov we did. Chav Lecher we did. Because that's talking about the case when he was owed money. Lo Kana.
So where's this Lokana?
I don't know if the Lo Kana, I think, is still on the Chov, but I don't know if we did that Lo Kana.
Yeah, we didn't do that. Seems like the Rashis are out of place over here. And then it goes back to the Nachesh Imi Hayom, which was before. No? 1 second. Oh, that's the Esve of. Okay. Oh, I see. Lokona, yeah. Lokona. Oh, Lokona was the tail end of Rav Nachman and Rav Chisda Amrit Tavayu. That's before the Esve of Rav Nachman. That's the reasoning behind the din of Rav Nachman that Jew number 1 is not able to make a kinyan for Jew number 2. Tofus, the Baal Chov Makom Shekav Lacherim. Jew number 1 tries to claim something to benefit Jew number 2 at the expense of Jew number 3, 4, and 5. Lo kona. He's not able to make that acquisition. So we'll see the Rashi there. Dibra Maska Lo kona.
So should we do the Lo Kana?
Oh, you see where it is?
Yeah, you want me to do the Lo Kana?
Yeah, we don't think we did that.
Yeah, it's right to the left of the Bach on page.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay.
The Omar that we say, the Ketubot, we said it in Ketubot. The Lav call, not all Kamini, all of these, Liot, that he can Kovetz. Kovetz is like jumping though.
Yeah.
Love on it. The Chav and a debt, love, It's not me'acher from another one. Shalo asu, that he didn't do, or didn't do it. Hanoshe shliach, the one who sends a shliach lifos to collect it.
Yeah. Rashi's quoting the words over there in the Gemora, apparently. Kedamar b'ksubas, like it says over there in ksubas, and these are the words in ksubas. The lav kol kamine, he doesn't have the koach, doesn't have the ability and the power, lios kofetz me'elov, to jump on this me'elov, like by himself. It means me'elov, by himself, v'chav le'elu, and make a chov, make something not good le'elu for those other creditors. In view of the fact that the Jew number 2, he's the noshe over here. He's the creditor that the Jew number 1 is being mezaka this item with. He did not. Jew number 2 did not make Jew number 1 a shaliach, appoint him as his agent, litfos. Rashi here is clear that if Jew number 2 would tell Jew number 1, listen, I want you to making you my shliach to go and seize this item for me from Ploni, because Ploni owes me money. So go and seize this item. So in that case, so then Jew number 1's hand is like the hand of Jew number 2, the one that sent him. Right? Shluach shalagim kamoso. So in that case, that says Rashi, that would work. That would work. That's not called. That would work even according to Reb Nachman. But Rashi's pointing out, since he did not do that, Jew number 2, he did not appoint Jew number 1 as his shliach. So Jew number 1 is, as the Gemora's language over there is, he's kofetz me'elo. He's jumping on this thing without anybody. He's an uninvited intruder over here. So he's not allowed to intrude like that by himself without having any. Who asked him to come in here and mix in over here? So like that, it's not going to work. No comment. Okay. All right. So then we go. Then we got more Rashis on this brisa. This is a brisa that Rava is quoting. That's bringing the kasha on Reb Nachman. Okay, so we go to the next Rashi. We'll read the next Rashi. Dibra Maskel Nachesh Imi Hayom. That's what the Balabayas, the one that's hiring this Schir Yom, this day worker, to do work for him. He's saying, do Nachesh today with me.
I see. Oh, not Nachesh with a nun.
Yeah.
Okay, Nachesh imi hayom. Delo nishchar imo ella lenichush de idor ucheshe hagba ha Metzia ein zu mam lachas bal habayis ukana poel v'hu yinacher lo mishcharo schar poel nikush ve'idor kol shas hagbaha. So he did not acquire with him except to
Okay, the thing is, the word, the niskar is basically hired to do work, except for weeding and digging. The nichush and idor is weeding and digging. He only made he's only hiring him in order to do weeding and digging.
And it's like that he lifted up a found object. And this is not.
And when he lifts up the found object, when he lifts it up,
This is not work.
of the Balabai. All those words go together. He's not doing that for the Balabai. The Balabai hired him only to weed and dig, not to find anything. So picking up a found object is not part of the job that he was hired to do.
And the worker acquires it for him, for the owner.
No, he doesn't know. The worker acquires it, not him, for himself, not for the owner.
Well, why
for himself?
The
worker gets it.
Low. What's low? Low is to him, right?
No, but it says vahu. That's not low. The next word is vahu.
After vahu, it says nicha lo.
Now that's something else. The first thing Rashi says is, based upon everything that he said, like Phil has explained, Rashi concludes v'kona poel, and accordingly, the poel is kona, meaning for himself. Rashi doesn't say kona poel la'atzmo; he just says kona poel. The worker acquires. But we understand that based upon what Rashi has said up until now, it means to say that he is acquiring it for himself. Then Rashi goes on to another subject. V'hu yinakelo mischaro. And he, meaning the Balabais, yinakelo, will deduct from to him mischaro, from his wages, schar pulas nichush v'idu kol shas hagbah. The whole time that he was doing the hagbah, he was not working for the Balabais. The Balabais told him, "You got to work for me the whole day doing weeding and whatchamacallit." And for the time that it took him to get this, find this object and lift it up and make a kinyan in it for himself, for that minute, he was not doing his job. So therefore, the Balabai says, "I'm not going to pay you. If the job was, I'm going to pay you $20 for the day, so it's going to be $20 minus 1 minute that you didn't work for me. You were working for yourself for that minute. So I'm not paying you for that." Okay. Okay, so now we go to the next Rashi, Amaloi. This now is the next case that the Brisa talks about, and from this case, we're going to see is going to be brought this Brisa that because this is going to be a kasha to Rav Nachman. The first case over here, we didn't see any kasha on Rav Nachman. All we see is a story where the guy is konet for himself. That's all. But the next case, we're going to see that the worker is going to be konet for the balabayis. So that's going to be a challenge to Rav Nachman, because Rav Nachman says, how can that be? Jew number one can't acquire something for Jew number two. It's chav lachevim. It's at the other people's expense. Okay, so let's see what the case is, and how the esvei comes out on Rav Nachman. Okay, this Rashi, Dibra Maskil Omalo, Asay Ibi Malacha Hayom.
And he said, he said to him, Asa, do for me malacha, this work today. And that means call malacha, shehu will say, all kinds of things that you do. Call malacha, she'ose malacha, you're doing work, balabayit for the balabayit. It's work, all work you do is was considered work for the balabayit. The kana balabayit. Now the balabayit gets it because when he was picked up the found, he was working for the balabayit. Let me see, kana balabayit. Was in my place here. Alma, we see Metzia, when he picks up the found object, the chavero for his friend, kana chavero. The friend does get it.
Right. So that alma that Rashi says over here, that represents the esvei that Rava has against Rav Nachman. We see over here we see over here not like you, Rav Nachman. We see over here that Jew number one can make an acquisition for Jew number two, and we don't say that he can't do so because it's at the expense of other people. So what's Rav Nachman going to say about this? Rav Nachman's got an answer. Rav Nachman said, Shiny Poel. He said, nah, you can't ask on me from this case of Poel, the day worker. Diyado kiyad balabaisu. Because according to the arrangement that they made with one another, the hand of the day worker is like the hand of the balabais. It's like the balabais himself is picking it up. He's an extended. The balabais bought him for this day. He bought another hand for himself today. So that's not called Jew number one picking it up for Jew number two. Let's see how Rashi explains it. Oh, Rashi doesn't explain that, does he? What's the next Rashi? Ki hadar be taima achrinahu. Yeah, that's further on in the Gemora. At that point, the Gemora pipes up and says, "Oh, Rav Nachman, we don't like your answer. We don't like that. Why? Because we know that the halacha of a hired worker, how could it be that his hand is like the hand of the balabais? How could that be? If he's his own guy. Nobody's owns his hand for today, and the proof of that is the fact that if he wants to quit, and walk off the job, even in the middle of the day, he's got every right to do so. That's what the Gemora says. Poel yochol lachzor bo afilu b'chatzi hayom. He can decide that he's had enough of this day and he is finished. And he says goodbye. And that's it. So how could it be? If that's the halakha of this poel, he's got that schus. He's got that right to do if he so desires. How could it be that his hand is owned by the balabais? Balabais is going to tell him, you can't do that. Your hand is my hand today. And Reb Nachman had an answer for that too. Amalei, Reb Nachman said, Kol kama de lo hadarbe, kiyad balabaisu. As long as he has not walked off the job, his hand is like the hand of the balabais. The balabais owns his hand. And what about when he does walk off the job at that point? How's that work exactly? If the hand of the worker is really owned by the balabais. So that's what the Gemora says. Ki hadarbe, when he does walk off, taima achrina. It's not because of the fact that he doesn't own his hand. He does own his hand, but that is based upon this pasuk. Ki li b'nei Yisrael avodim avodai heim v'lo avodim lavodim. He says that's a different reason because there's no such a thing as a Jew who's owned by another person. There's no such a thing. Klal Yisrael ki li avodim, b'nei Yisrael avodim. To me, Klal Yisrael, they are my avodim. Emphasize another time. He says, "Below avodim lavodim," but they are not the slave to another person who's also supposed to be my eved. So let's see what Rashi has to say about that. Ki hadarbe taima achrinahu. Whose turn it is to read the Rashi now? Lou.
Can I just read it? Which Rashi are we up to?
This is the next Rashi. Ki hadar be taima achrinahu. I think that's your Rashi. I think Phil read the previous one.
Okay. Hi to Amar Dechi Hadar Be Harishus Biado Lav Mishum Das Hasheta Lav Kiyad Baal Habayis Hu Ella Tama Acharina Hu Sha'ani Shalo Ke'avad She'im Ba Le Azov Lo Shikaru Mikan Ve'elech Ule Chazor Bo Yachzor Bo. Okay, so this that he said, return in it. permission through him, it's not because he intended I don't know what hashta now. He intended now not in order that the balabayas, not under the auspices of the balabayas, rather the reason there's another reason that he's not he's not a servant. He's not a servant to him. That if he came, what is la'azov?
To help.
If he wants to leave. Leave the job.
If he wants to leave, then he can acquire
Scharo, his wages for that day.
His wages from here and onward, and he can return in it. He can return. Guess what? And continue working.
Oh boy, yeah, this is confusing. 1 second here. Okay, so Hada Amar the Ki Hada Bay. This that we say that when he decides he wants to quit now, Harishus Biyado, he's got full right to do so. Lav Bishum, the Ad Hashta Lav Ki the Balabayis who. That's not because up until now his hand was not owned by the Balabayis. His hand was the hand of the Balabayis. Up until now. It was, just like Rav Nachman maintained. Oh, so how come then he's able to walk off the job like that? Elatai Machrinahu. Well, there's a different reason why he's able to do that. She'eno lo ke'eved, because he's not his slave. He's not his slave. She'im bo lazov lo, because that if he now comes to forsake and leave him, scharo mikan ve'elech, the his wages from now and onwards until the end of the day that he was supposed to be paid, v'lakser bo and lakser bo. Yakser bo.
It's like going back. His wages go back to the boss because he was working for himself. He wasn't working for. He had the wages. He doesn't get his wages for that time from then on because he's now working for himself and not working for the boss, for the Balabayit.
Oh, I read it wrong. It's all one continuation. If he wants to forsake and leave his wages that he would have otherwise gotten, from now and onwards till the end of the day, be choser from his job. Yaksabo, he can be choser from his job. He could quit the job. Laksabo means to quit the job. He said he was going to work for you today. Now at 12 o'clock noon, he decided he's not working for you anymore. That's called laksabo. And Rashi says yaksabo. If he wants to do that, he could. He could do that. But the implication is, from what Rashi is saying, is that he is going to get paid up until 12 o'clock, that he did work. He doesn't forfeit his whole wages. That's part of that's part of his reshus. He's got a reshus to quit at 12 o'clock and be paid until 12 o'clock. And he hasn't he's the Balabais has no claim against him. All he's got to do is pay him for that. Okay, we're finished for today. All the best, everybody. Have a great day.
Fine. It's not that important.
Bye, Lou. Bye, Phil.
Right.
Bye, Alan.